what unfolds when a flight attendant slaps the wrong passenger on a crowded plane, all while cameras are rolling? Have you ever had one of those days that seem destined to be smooth and effortless? For Jordan Whittaker, today started that way. He wasn't seeking the spotlight, even though it often found him, especially when your father's face graces the covers of Fortune magazine. But Jordan preferred to keep things low-key. No flashy suits today, just a charcoal hoodie, black joggers, clean sneakers, headphones hanging loosely around his neck, and a leather backpack slung casually over one shoulder. At Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport, the Delta Gate buzzed with activity, but first class had its own fast track. Jordan moved through security with ease, carrying his usual calm, relaxed energy. He had a 5-hour flight to Los Angeles ahead and a crucial meeting the next day that could shape his company's future. His focus was clear. No distractions. Boarding started early for first class, and Jordan stepped forward when called. Claire Benson, a flight attendant in her mid-40s with a perfectly pressed uniform and a practiced smile, gave him a quick once-over. "Welcome aboard, sir," she said, polite but curt. Jordan returned a friendly smile and moved inside, searching for his seat. 2A, a window spot with plenty of space to unwind. But before sitting, he noticed the overhead bin was packed tight, no room for his backpack. He turned back to Claire, who was busy greeting other passengers. "Excuse me," he said gently, pointing at the bin. "Looks full. Could you help?" Claire didn't even glance. "You can check it at the gate," she replied flatly. Jordan blinked, confused. It was just his backpack. He'd flown first class plenty before. Usually they'd assist in finding space. His tone was calm, curious, rather than confrontational. Claire's smile tightened. "Sir, you can check it at the gate or hold on to it. Those are your options." A few nearby passengers glanced over at the sharp edge in her voice. An edge Jordan felt too, one that hadn't been there for the passenger before him, whose roller bag Claire stowed without hesitation. Trying to keep things light, Jordan chuckled softly. "Look, I'm not trying to cause trouble, just wondering if there's any extra space." Claire's eyes slid past him, as if he wasn't there. She greeted the next passenger warmly, while Jordan exhaled slowly. No big deal. He tucked the backpack under his seat, knowing it would cramp his legroom, then settled in and stared out the window, telling himself to let it go. But the feeling lingered. Something about the exchange didn't sit right. He put his headphones on and tried to tune it out, unaware that this small moment of friction was just the spark before chaos would erupt 30,000 feet above ground. Trouble has a way of finding you when you least expect it, and for Jordan, it started right at boarding. The plane filled quickly as passengers found their seats and buckled in for what should have been an uneventful flight. Jordan stayed quiet, scrolling through his phone, the soft beat in his headphones helping him stay calm. Yet Claire's tone echoed in his mind. "Don't make this a big deal," he told himself. "It's not worth it." But as boarding continued, he noticed something. That couple across the aisle? Claire personally found space for their bag with a smile and even a joke. A few rows back, another passenger got the same treatment. But when Claire's gaze landed on him, nothing. Curious, Jordan pulled his headphones down. He wasn't angry, just puzzled. He pressed the call button above his seat. Claire appeared moments later, hands clasped in front of her. "Yes, sir," she said, but the "sir" felt anything but respectful. "Look," Jordan began calmly, "I just wanted to ask why my bag couldn't go in the overhead. You found space for everyone else." Her smile stayed tight, professional. "Sir, we're doing our best to accommodate all passengers. There's no need to compare." Jordan tilted his head. "Compare? I'm only asking a simple question." Her voice lowered, but steel was clear beneath the calm. "Sir, if you're unhappy, you can speak with customer service after landing." Jordan stared. "After landing? The flight hasn't even taken off." His tone was steady, but something in it made Claire stiffen. Nearby passengers noticed the tension too. A man shifted awkwardly in 3C, pretending to read, while the woman beside Jordan suddenly became engrossed in the window. Jordan kept his voice even, ready for what was next. "I paid for first class just like everyone else here," Jordan said calmly, gesturing toward the couple across the aisle. "I'm simply asking for the same courtesy you showed them." Claire's eyes flicked sharply back to him. "Sir, you need to lower your tone." Jordan blinked, taken aback. "Lower my tone? I haven't raised my voice." "I'm asking you to be respectful," she responded firmly. Leaning back slowly with his hands raised, Jordan said, "I've been nothing but respectful." Her jaw tightened, lips pressing into a thin line. "Sir, I won't repeat myself." At that moment, Jordan realized this wasn't about overhead bin space anymore. It was personal. The sharpness in her voice caught the attention of nearby passengers. Whispers spread quietly around the cabin. A man 2 rows ahead glanced back nervously, then quickly looked away. Jordan exhaled, gripping the armrest. He hated drawing attention. He just wanted a peaceful flight, but Claire wasn't backing down. She stood there for a moment longer, staring him down before moving away. Jordan tried to steady his thoughts, but he could feel the eyes on him. People wondering, what did he do? Deep inside, Jordan sensed this was only the beginning. Sometimes, the start is just a spark before a bigger explosion. The seatbelt sign dinged on. Doors closed. Everyone braced for takeoff, or so they thought. Jordan stared out the window, watching the ground crew signal with orange batons. He told himself, just let it go. Don't give her the satisfaction. But the voice inside, the one that hated being treated like he didn't belong, grew louder. He took off his headphones and caught the attention of another attendant, a younger man with short brown hair and an easy smile. "Hey," Jordan said politely, "could I get some water? I haven't had anything since I arrived." "Sure thing," the attendant replied cheerfully and disappeared into the galley. Before he could return, Claire reappeared, striding down the aisle like she owned the place. "What's the problem now?" she asked sharply, cutting through the low hum of conversation. Jordan looked up, confused. "Problem? I just asked for water." Her lips pressed tightly. "If you need something, you ask me, not my staff." Jordan blinked, incredulous. "He's a flight attendant, too," I asked politely. Leaning in, Claire lowered her voice but still spoke loud enough for nearby passengers to hear. "Sir, this is your second time challenging me. I won't tolerate disrespect on this flight." Jordan let out a quiet, bitter laugh. "Disrespect? You really think asking for water is disrespect?" "I think you're being difficult for no reason," Claire said. Jordan's tone sharpened. "First, you refused space for my bag. Now, asking for water is a problem?" Her eyes flashed. "If you don't like the service, feel free to book another airline next time." The younger attendant returned with the water bottle, freezing when he saw Claire standing firmly beside Jordan like a storm. Jordan reached out, took the bottle slowly, eyes locked on Claire. "Thanks, man." Claire straightened and raised her voice so more passengers could hear. "Sir, this behavior will not be tolerated." Jordan set the water down calmly. "You keep saying that, but all I've done is ask for simple things everyone else gets without trouble." The cabin grew tense, heavy with anticipation. A woman nearby glanced back with raised eyebrows. A man whispered to his wife, "What's going on?" The situation had turned into a spectacle, and Claire seemed to enjoy the spotlight. Crossing her arms, she issued a final warning. "Last warning, sir. If you can't follow instructions and respect this crew, you will be removed from this flight." Jordan's jaw clenched. "Follow instructions? You mean follow you? Because that's what this really is, isn't it?" Her eyes narrowed. Silence fell, thick and charged like static. Then she spoke slowly and sharply, "Watch your tone." Jordan leaned back, shaking his head with a dry laugh. Not because it was funny, but because it was surreal. The energy in the cabin was electric. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed loudly. Everyone was waiting for something to break. And when it finally did, no one on that flight would ever forget it. The engines hummed softly as the plane inched away from the gate. Cabin lights dimmed for takeoff. Everything seemed normal. But in row 2, the air was thick, charged, like a storm ready to erupt. Jordan sat motionless, staring straight ahead. His heart raced, not from fear, but from the sheer absurdity of the moment. He felt the weight of dozens of eyes burning into his back, strangers silently judging without knowing the full story. Claire walked down the aisle slowly, her heels clicking sharply like tiny gunshots on the floor. When she reached Jordan's row, she stopped. "Sir," she said, voice smooth but cutting, "last time I'm asking, are we going to have a problem?" Jordan didn't look at her immediately. He took a deep breath, then turned calmly. "No problem here. Are you sure you don't have one?" Her eyebrows shot up. That was the breaking point. You could almost hear the tension snap. Before anyone could blink, Claire's hand shot up with no hesitation and slapped him. The sharp smack echoed through the cabin like a dropped book. Every head whipped around. Gasps filled the air. One woman dropped her phone in shock. A man muttered, "No way!" Jordan froze, blinking slowly, trying to process what just happened. This wasn't real. The sting burned hot on his cheek, but the disbelief burned hotter. Passengers whispered nervously, "Did she just—" while someone in the back scrambled for their phone to record. Jordan turned his gaze slowly toward Claire, his voice unnervingly calm. "You just put your hands on me." Her chest rose with heavy breaths, but her expression stayed cold and unreadable. "You disrespected this crew," she said. Before she could finish, Jordan's voice rose just enough for everyone to hear. "You hit me on a plane in front of all these people." Claire's lips parted, silence filling the space as the reality of her actions sank in, for her and for everyone watching. Suddenly, the captain's voice cut through the intercom like a shot. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We have been instructed to hold position on the tarmac. Please remain seated with your seat belts fastened." The plane slowed, then stopped. No takeoff, no liftoff, just heavy silence hanging over first class like a storm cloud. Jordan leaned back, staring at the seat in front of him. His cheek burned, but his mind was on fire. Cameras were out now, tiny red recording lights glowing like watchful eyes. Every passenger felt it. This was more than just a flight delay. Something serious was unfolding. Outside, the endless Texas sun shone down on the runway, but inside first class, the atmosphere was a pressure cooker. Whispers started low but quickly spread like wildfire. Phones lit up as people hit record, angling cameras to capture every moment of the simmering tension between Claire and Jordan. He sat still, his right cheek still burning, eyes cold and focused. He didn't shout or curse. He didn't give Claire the reaction she probably wanted, a reason to remove him from the flight. Instead, he pulled his phone from his pocket and held it steady. Claire noticed. Her chest rose and fell, like she'd just run a marathon, but her voice stayed clipped, trying to hold on to control. "Sir, I need you to turn that phone off immediately." Jordan didn't flinch. "You assaulted me." His voice was calm, but carried through the cabin. Passengers in row 4 exchanged looks, disbelief spreading like wildfire. "You put your hands on me," Jordan said firmly. "And now you want me to stop recording?" "I'm telling you to follow airline policy," Claire shot back. "That policy doesn't let you hit passengers," Jordan replied sharply, cutting through the tension like glass. Gasps rippled through the cabin. Someone behind him muttered, "He's right." Another whispered, "I saw everything." Claire's face flushed under her makeup. Her jaw clenched tight, her fingers gripping the seat edge so hard her knuckles went white. Then the intercom crackled again. "Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain. For security reasons, this aircraft will remain stationary until further notice. Please stay seated. Law enforcement is en route." That final announcement hit like thunder. Phones immediately tilted upward, capturing every word. Everyone knew this was no ordinary delay. This was a viral moment unfolding live. Jordan leaned back, almost unnervingly calm now. He sipped his water slowly, eyes never leaving Claire, as if silently studying her. The younger flight attendant lingered near the galley, looking pale and uneasy, like he wanted to speak up but didn't dare. Whispers grew louder around the cabin. Did he hit her? No, she slapped him. I saw it with my own eyes. Someone in the back muttered, "She's finished. Just ruined her career." Claire stood motionless, eyes flicking toward the cockpit as if waiting for backup. But no one came. The other attendants kept their distance. Passengers kept filming. And Jordan? He never raised his voice once. 5 minutes passed, then 10. The air inside the cabin felt hotter, even though the vents still blew cold. Every sound, a seatbelt click, a snack wrapper crinkle, seemed unbearably loud. People weren't just watching anymore. They were picking sides. A man in first class leaned toward Jordan, voice low but steady. "If you need backup, I've got your back. That was wrong, man." Jordan gave a simple nod. No words needed. His silence spoke volumes. Then, through the small oval window, flashing lights appeared, blue and red slicing across the tarmac. Gasps filled the cabin again as phones zoomed in. Claire straightened her blazer, trying to smooth her hair, but her hands trembled. She felt the weight of every eye, every camera, every moment of poor judgment playing out in real time. When the officers boarded, they weren't just there for answers. They were about to discover who Jordan really was. The cabin door creaked open with a heavy metallic click. Boots stepped firmly onto the jet bridge, purposeful and unyielding. Conversations died instantly. Passengers straightened, caught off guard. 2 officers appeared in the doorway, both in dark navy uniforms, badges gleaming under fluorescent lights. The first, a tall Latino man with calm eyes and a trimmed mustache, spoke first. "Afternoon, folks. I'm Officer Ramirez with Airport Security. Please remain seated while we address the situation." The second officer, a black woman in her mid-30s with hair pulled back neatly, scanned the cabin as if reading every secret. "Phones down, please. This is an active investigation. No one put their phones away." Some lowered them slightly, but the red recording lights kept glowing. Claire stepped forward quickly, voice eager, almost desperate. "Officers, thank you for coming. We have a passenger causing a disturbance." Jordan cut in, calm as ever. "That's one way to put it. Another way? She hit me." Gasps fluttered through the cabin like startled birds. The officers exchanged glances, then turned to Claire. "Ma'am, is that true?" Her throat bobbed nervously. He was being aggressive, disrespectful. I acted to protect the crew. Jordan let out a quiet laugh under his breath. "Protect the crew from me asking for water?" He turned toward the aisle, raising his voice. "Anybody here see me threaten her? Anyone?" Voices erupted instantly. "I saw the whole thing. She hit him out of nowhere. He didn't do anything wrong." A woman in row 3 held up her phone. "It's on video." Ramirez's jaw tightened slightly as he addressed Claire again. "Ma'am, please step aside." Her face flushed crimson. "You're not listening." The female officer cut her off firmly. Claire hesitated, then moved stiffly toward the galley, hands trembling so badly she gripped the wall for support. Ramirez crouched slightly to meet Jordan's eye level. "Sir, are you hurt?" Jordan shook his head slowly. "Physically, no. But what she did? That's not something you just brush off." Ramirez nodded. "Understood. We'll take statements from everyone. This flight won't depart until this is resolved." Jordan exhaled for what felt like the first time in an hour. Passengers whispered, still recording. He knew this wasn't over, not by a long shot. The female officer returned from the galley, expression unreadable. She whispered something to Ramirez that made his eyebrows rise. Then he turned to Jordan. "Mr. Whitaker," he said, voice shifting respectfully, "is there a private number for your legal team?" The cabin fell silent. Claire froze mid-step, turning back slowly, face draining of color. "Legal team?" someone whispered. Jordan's eyes locked on Claire as he answered calmly, "Yes, I can give you my lawyer's direct line." He paused, letting the moment settle. Or, "My father's office." Claire blinked in disbelief. "Your father?" Jordan leaned forward slightly, gaze unyielding. "Richard Whittaker, CEO of Whittaker Global Holdings." The name landed like a punch. A man in 3C quietly muttered, "No way." Claire's lips parted as if to speak, but no words came out. The female officer straightened and announced, "We're moving this to a private area. Sir, you'll come with us. Ma'am?" She looked squarely at Claire. "You too." The aisle felt like a walk of shame as Claire followed the officers, head bowed slightly, whispers trailing her every step. But Jordan, he stood tall, calm, and silent, every camera in that cabin capturing the moment. What happened next would make headlines, and Claire had no idea how much her life was about to change. They escorted Jordan off the plane first, not in handcuffs, not like a suspect, but like someone important walking through chaos. Cameras flashed the moment he stepped onto the jet bridge. Passengers leaned into the aisle, filming and whispering his name now that they knew who he was. Claire followed behind, head down and face pale. The once confident flight attendant now looked smaller, crushed by the weight of what she'd done. Every camera click was another nail in her professional coffin. Inside the terminal, they separated them into different rooms. Officers gathered statements, witnesses lined up, and videos were handed over willingly. Some passengers even offered to email copies, eager to be part of something big. Jordan sat quietly at a table, scrolling through his phone, messages flooding in. The headlines were already out. Flight attendant slaps passenger on first-class flight. Once they added his name, it was set to explode. After about an hour, Officer Ramirez returned, calm as ever. "Mr. Whittaker, thank you for your patience. We've reviewed enough to know this wasn't your fault." Jordan nodded. "I figured people had their cameras out before I could even react." Ramirez offered a sympathetic look. "Do you want to press charges?" Jordan hesitated. The room was so quiet you could hear a clock tick. Then he said, "Not yet. I want to talk to her first." Ramirez raised an eyebrow but nodded. "We can arrange that." Minutes later, Claire was brought in. She wasn't the same woman who boarded with confidence and control. Her blazer was wrinkled, eyes red, as if she'd been crying. She didn't sit at first, gripping the back of a chair. Jordan studied her, no anger in his eyes now, only something colder, disappointment. Finally, she spoke, voice shaky. I don't know what to say." "Start with why," Jordan said quietly. "Why did you think it was okay to treat me that way?" Her throat tightened. "I misread the situation. I thought you were challenging me." Jordan let out a slow breath, shaking his head. "Challenge you for asking for water? For wanting the same service everyone else got?" Tears welled in her eyes. "I was wrong. I know that. I shouldn't have. I lost my temper. There's no excuse." Jordan's voice stayed calm, steady. "You didn't just lose your temper, Claire. You put your hands on me, on a plane, in front of witnesses. That's not just a bad day. That's a choice." She dropped her gaze to the floor, hands trembling on the chair. "I've been doing this job for 20 years, and I just threw it all away." Jordan leaned forward slightly, softer but firm. "No, you didn't just throw away a job. You almost destroyed someone's peace, their dignity, because you assumed the worst without listening." Her eyes brimmed with regret. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Jordan stared for a long moment, then stood slowly. "You don't owe me an apology, Claire. You owe one to yourself, and maybe to everyone else you treated like they didn't belong." He said no more. Without looking back, he walked out, head held high, his phone already buzzing with calls from lawyers, PR teams, and news outlets. By morning, the story was everywhere. Headlines, hashtags, videos with millions of views, people debating privilege, respect, and what happens when judgment overrides common sense. Claire lost her job. The airline issued a public statement. The internet dragged her name through comment sections for weeks. But the harshest punishment wasn't from strangers. It was the mirror she faced every day afterward. Jordan never posted a word about it. never gave an interview. He didn't need to. The lesson spoke louder than any tweet. Respect isn't about uniforms or titles. It's about treating people right before you even know who they are. What would you have done if you witnessed this? Would you have spoken up? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that matter.